I was fortunate in life to have some great teachers. One of my greatest teachers was my mother, and she always told me to study everything and everyone to be prepared for anything. And I remember her giving me an encyclopedia. I don't know, I think it was Britannica. It went from A to Z. And, and that was like my favorite toy. And I'm glad that she put me in that position because I received that before a Bible. You know, I received encyclopedia, and I had a chance to study a spectrum, a large spectrum of different information. When I was growing up, just to think that everything is edited, I remember that there was only 4 oceans. Of course, there was the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian Ocean, and then it was the Arctic Ocean. And I think that went all the way up to 2001. Also, when I was growing up, they defined planets by anything that could have a gravitational pull around the sun. And it was 9. And at that time, Pluto was considered to be a planet. But now it's been revised. You know, we know that planets are made of gas or they're either solid. So that's some good information. But here it is. All life forms exist separately in other realms. So the Earth, or this plane, Earth is like an almanac of all living worlds in our multiverse. So here we experience all kinds of different things in harmony with each other. That's what's so special a place like this. That's why I consider it one of the lowest depths of heaven. Not necessarily a hell, but there's more of a vulnerability here. Because in the higher levels of heavens, of course, you know, you have access to fruits that's unfamiliar to us, different scents, smells, and different things visually that are unfamiliar to us. But as far as this multiverse, we represent the genetic blueprint that exists in all the multiverse. And the Earth is going through its evolution at all times. So that's what I mean by the study of everything. We have to understand that it's a difference between research and worship. I study Zeus, but I don't worship Zeus. I study Jesus, but I'm not going to worship Jesus. I study religions, but therefore I don't have to go by their program because there's a difference between understanding, studying something, and not becoming engulfed and enslaved by it. And a lot of times, and I've been guilty of it myself, especially with social media and things like that. And I have to catch my snap a lot of times because I know that we're dealing with many different realities in one. So I have to always catch my snap because I'm aware of the media god. I'm aware of all of the different things that they play on the programs. But, if you don't stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And people that are easily triggered are easily caught up into, the left or the right. Usually they're easily manipulated. So sometimes I have to also do a self-reflection because we represent the genetic blueprint that exists in all of the universe. And as a representation, we have to understand that we were not always at this point. Evolution has taken place. When we first existed, even if we came from algae, plants, water, so we came aquatic. And then we came to a point to where we were like in a plant state. And then after plants, animals. And then what we call the human. But all of these organisms have different realms that they exist within. And with all this information that's going on at all times, we have to decipher. Somebody asked me a question the other day. If man created technology, isn't technology a part of nature? And that was a good question. I was like, yeah, that's pretty good, man. That I see what you're saying with this. Therefore, saying that we are in control of the artificial intelligence. But then I had to explain to the brother that asked me the question. I'll give an example. Cosmetic surgery, for example, versus your natural epidermis, your flesh. You notice that at first the cosmetic surgery, which is synthetic, which is artificial, it definitely makes you look how you want to look. But after your biological, natural self still grows and ages, that synthetic material doesn't. So therefore, there's a conflict between the two, the synthetic and the natural. And then you have these different looks that don't look so well, and then these people have to live in denial, just like people who take the jabs. They have to be in denial. They ignore the reality that they were finessed, because these people just want their money. So information is information, but we also have to know how to decipher between the illusion and the reality. Because unfortunately, that's the only way that the demonic regime can infect us and affect us. It's through manipulation, finesse, and illusion. So now that we're moving to the point in the age of information, you know, a lot of us are like, okay, I want to evolve technology, don't become a victim of it. But to one point, we have to understand that clay and iron don't mix, because you can be enslaved by your information, especially if you're going down the wrong path. And I believe that separation from nature is a disease in itself, because we have to understand the battle between nature and the matrix. And the matrix, are the synthetic, is of Satan, the demonic realm, because everything they do is only an imitation. Everything they do is illusion, imitation, deception. Everything. That means that it always has a limited time. From the synthetic food, from the chemicals, all of these things are to stop what's natural. So even if you're not religious, it's always going to be nature versus the machine. And by becoming natural and understanding yourself naturally, you become supernatural. You don't digress, you evolve, you progress when you stay in alignment with nature. This is the function of the Milky Way. This is the function of the earth plane. Stay in alignment with nature, because when you follow the artificial route, the route of the shaitan, of the demonic realm, it's only to enslave and entrap you, because they only want to inhabit your vessel, because they are not of this world. They are imprisoned out of this world. They are disembodied spirits. In order for them to hijack our avatar, or destroy our spirit, we have to believe in their syntheticism, their illusion, their artificial world. And a lot of that is on the TV. So, self-reflection and understanding of yourself and understanding the world that we live in. And remember the states of existence, the plants, the aquatic realm, the animal realm, and then us, because of our consciousness and our connection to the source. It makes us way more powerful than the world of syntheticism, the artificial world of artificial intelligence, the world of shaitan, and the ability to combine all these belief systems and understand where we stand in this, because we are in a large almanac of the multiverse, to where everything in the multiverse is experiencing itself here in the earth plane, the plane of Gaia. Stay tuned for part 2, Ancient Nine Mystery School, Saint Germain.